Today, I'm diving into classic mode in Quick Sampler, my go-to when I want to loop, trim, and play samples across my keyboard. It's super intuitive and gives me precise control over how a sample behaves musically. First, I make sure Classic is selected at the top of the Quick Sampler. It's right next to One Shot, Slice, and Recorder. Just one click, and I'm in. Here on the right, I can see the name of the sample I've loaded. If I haven't loaded one yet, I'll drag something in, maybe a percussion loop or a vocal snippet. Once it's in, I see a few controls. A snap setting. I usually keep this on beat for musical edits. And a zoom slider that helps me focus on parts of the waveform. Now I'm looking at the big waveform display in the middle of the screen. That's where I do most of my edits. To define the playback range, I drag the blue start and end markers. I can zoom in and get really precise. If I hold Option and drag either marker, both move together. It's great for keeping the overall length constant. Below the waveform, Logic shows me the marker values, so I always know exactly where I am in the sample. Now comes the looping magic. I see yellow loop start and end markers. I can move them to define the looped region. Once I place them, a yellow shaded section appears. That's my loop. I can drag the whole loop by grabbing that yellow area, and again, Option Drag moves both markers as a unit. To clean up transitions, I add fades. I drag the gray fade markers at the beginning and end of the sample. Holding Option lets me move both fades at once. On the left side, under the waveform, there is a root key pop-up. I set this to tell Logic what key plays the sample at its original pitch and speed. It's usually around middle C, but I can change it depending on the sound. Next to that is Tune. I can fine-tune the pitch up or down in Sense. Either I drag it up or down, or I just double-click and type a number in. Now I set how the sample plays. In the playback menu, I choose either forward or reverse if I want to flip the sample backward for a creative effect. Then, under loop mode, I can choose no loop, just plays through once, forward, it loops from start to end, reverse, loops backward, alternate, bounces back and forth, play to end, on release, keeps going to the end even after I lift the key. On the lower right, I see a flex button. Once I enable this, the sample keeps its original speed, no matter what key I press. It's perfect when I want to change pitch without speeding things up or slowing them down. With Flex on, I can also enable Follow Tempo, which keeps the sample synced to my project BPM. If it doesn't sound right, I go to the Action menu and choose Derive Tempo from Loop Length. In this case, Logic recalculates the tempo based on the sample's loop. Lastly, there's Flex Speed. This pop-up lets me double or half the sample's tempo in musically relevant ways. It's great for experimenting. I can even assign this to modulation later if I want to automate tempo changes. So to wrap up, classic mode gives me everything I need to shape a sample musically. I can loop just the part I want, pitch it across the keyboard, sync it to my track, and fine-tune every little detail. All in one clean interface. I'm feeling more confident every time I explore these controls. With each sample I load, I've got endless creative options to stretch, twist, or reshape it into something new. If you're ready for the next lesson, let's go.